Abortion is healthcare. Even if you choose to have an abortion, it's nobody's fucking business, first of all, especially not the government, because you're not doctors. And guess what? It can't be left up to the states because pregnancy and abortion functions the same way in all 50 states. All of them. Pregnancy is a biological function, and sometimes there's a dysfunction, or sometimes somebody just wants to end a pregnancy and that's fine. It's none of your fucking business. And you're not doing it for Jesus. Guess what? If a woman was dying of sepsis in a hospital for 20 hours before they were willing to perform surgery at the last minute, if Jesus was outside that operating room, he'd say, go in there and help her, God damn it. This is not for Jesus. You are not pro-life. You are pro-dead women. So don't tell me that Jesus wants you to save babies, because that's just not true. You're killing women, and you're not stopping abortions either. People will go and get unsafe abortions, or they have to travel to another state or something. Abortions are going to happen, and you can give people safe healthcare, or you can let them die. And it is not Christ-like to let people die when healthcare is available. I know America has such a problem with giving people healthcare. Like and you know what? Jesus didn't ask for Lazarus's insurance card. I'm pretty sure he healed all those lepers for free. So we've got a healthcare crisis on our hands, and the only one who's doing anything about it is Kamala Harris. And she's in Georgia today, and she's talking about the abortion issue because Georgia is one of those states that has an abortion ban, and women are dying. More than one. That's actually happening. No pets have been eaten by Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, but women in Georgia are dying. And I watched the Kamala and Oprah show. I skipped through some of the parts because, like, all right, I love celebrities like, you know, Meryl Streep and Chris Rock and Bryan Cranston and people like that. But I was just, I watched it this morning, so I skipped through a lot of parts. It's not your fault. I just wanted to hear Kamala speak, and, it was really long. But I think, side note, celebrity endorsements, I would really like Arnold Schwarzenegger to give Kamala Harris his endorsement, because he's a former Republican governor of California over here, which I freaking love. California. It is an awesome state. But the fact that a Republican won means his policies were actually very centrist. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, seems like a nice guy. Seems like he would kind of hate Donald Trump. So I think that would be a good celebrity endorsement. John Voight, if he wants his grandkids to ever talk to him again. Who else is like a Republican? I don't know. A lot of them are dead. Who cares? The point is, Kamala Harris said a lot of good things in that interview. One of the things that stuck out to me was that she has a gun, and anyone who breaks into her house is getting shot. And I just, I'm like, Kamala is packing heat. She is just such a badass. I am obviously for reasonable gun control. The school shootings and stuff like that are horrifying to watch. We have to do something about it. But we're not going to take people's guns away. It is just not going to happen. I know personally I would never get a gun because I have schizoaffective disorder. And I am too mentally ill to own a gun. And I reasonably know that. So I would not get one. I was raised to kind of hate guns too, but it's not something that's my priority. But if we have a president who's actually like, a legal gun owner and uses her gun for home protection, which is what a lot of people, their excuse for having a gun is. So, that argument is right out the door. You can't say that Kamala Harris is taking your guns. Another thing she said is that it's a privilege to be an American. And I really believe that. I love my country. I love that I was born in Richmond, Virginia, which was one of the capitals of the Confederacy, but now, votes Democratic. That means that things can change, people can change, we can all, work on a better future together. And the other side is just selling threats. They're threatening, they're a threat because all they do is threaten. Kamala's not, even though she has a gun, she's only threatening people who try to break in her house. She's not threatening that it's going to be World War III. It's, Israel's not going to exist anymore. By the way, I think Trump said that he was going to blame the Jews if he lost. First of all, he said he was going to lose, so at least he's accepting that. But because Kamala's husband is Jewish and he doesn't have a loving spouse, Trump doesn't have a loving spouse. Melania hates him. Kamala called Trump after the second assassination attempt, and I bet Melania didn't. And so through the convoluted projection, the way that his brain works, if he loses, he's going to blame Melania too. So I know firsthand what delusion is. I have had scary ass delusions myself in my life, and I don't want to diagnose this man, but he has some serious mental illness issues, and he should not own a gun either. And if you can't own a gun, then you probably shouldn't be president. So if you're responsible enough to own a gun, are you responsible enough to run a country? No. Donald Trump is not Jesus. Kamala Harris is not Jesus. Jesus would never own a gun. I'm an atheist. Let's take Jesus out of the equation and start running the government with the scientific method. We are supposed to have separation of church and state for a reason, because our country should not be decided by a minority of people from, a group of religion, or, impose religious bans on things like abortion and healthcare. We, even if, Christians were, I don't even know if I would have to look it up if they're the majority in the US right now. But even the founding fathers, they were deists, but they wanted separation of church and state. Why isn't that more of an issue to the people who care about the Second Amendment? What about the First Amendment? What about, I don't think any of these people have ever read the Second Amendment. They certainly couldn't recite it. And I think if you want a gun, you should have to memorize how the First Amendment goes. Hey, that's a free idea. So please vote for Kamala Harris. She's not going to take your guns, but she is going to save women from bleeding out in parking lots.